Out of all the months in the year, October definitely stands out as my favorite. I love watching the leaves change colors, indulging in fall foods/drinks, and getting in the Halloween spirit. And rather than dress up or decorate, my favorite way of getting in the spooky mood is by watching spooky movies. And this time around, I chose a particular spooky movie you may be surprised I hadn't seen before.
A good guy! I knew it! I'm Chucky.
He's something, isn't he?
Good night, Chucky.
He came alive in my hand.
Oh, for God's sake.
Why won't you believe me?
Because I'm sane. Mrs. Barkley, sane and rational.
No one believes the truth. There's nothing innocent about child's play.
1988's Child's Play is the first film in the Chucky franchise, and the film follows a struggling single mother who gets a good guy doll for her son's birthday, which just so happens to be possessed by a serial killer. As far as the cast goes, I'm only going to mention 4 of the actors involved, but starting with the mother, Karen Barclay, we have Catherine Hicks. As her son, Andy, we have Alex Vincent. As Detective Mike Norris, we have Chris Sarandon. And last but certainly not least, as Chucky himself, we have Brad Dourif. But getting into my review, I'll be structuring it like usual, starting with the positives, then the negatives, then I'll end the review with my ranking. So without further ado, let's get into my review for 1988's Child's Play. As far as positives go, my gosh, I have so many. This is one of those films that I watched for the first time and regretted not seeing it sooner. But the first positive I'll mention is the performances from the cast. Chris Sarandon gave a great performance as Detective Norris and filled the role of a supporting character very well. Catherine Hicks was also great in her role as Karen Barclay, filling the role of a main protagonist incredibly well. But the 2 that stood out to me most are Alex Vincent and of course Brad Dourif. Alex Vincent's character was 6 in this movie. I believe he was the same age when filming. And for an actor that age, he did a surprisingly fantastic job and even outacted some of the adults in the film. But as for Brad Dourif, his performance is the one that truly stands out the most. His voiceover work as Chucky is iconic and terrifyingly hilarious. And overall, I'd say his performance is a big part of what makes this movie great. But what also makes this movie great is the special effects, which is my next positive. For a film released in 1988, these special effects hold up incredibly well. The work they did on the Chucky doll itself is incredibly impressive and realistic. I never once felt like I was just seeing an animatronic or a person in a costume. It legitimately felt like a doll had come to life. So overall, when it comes to the special effects, I'd say they withstand the test of time. But the final positive I have is going to be with the writing for both the dialogue and the story. As far as the dialogue goes, this film is absolutely hilarious and crude, but also very clever. And as far as the story goes, it's also very clever, very fun, and very well structured. There's a lot about this film I enjoyed, definitely more I could mention here. But in an attempt to make this review a little less one-sided, I'll cut it off there. So getting into my negatives, I'll say it now, these are very small negatives. So anything I mention here really didn't affect the film all that much. But the first negative I have is going to be with some of the special effects. Mainly when it came to the lightning and cloud effects they used, maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the film. I wouldn't say it necessarily pulled me out of the movie, but it's the one effect in the movie that really didn't work. But the second and final negative I have is going to be with the film's pacing. It just felt like it dragged a little bit, and I really only noticed that issue when it came to the film's ending. It just felt like the ending kept going, but that's not necessarily a big complaint or anything, just a small little nitpick. But that's all for the positives and negatives, so let's get into my ranking. Since this film is streaming and available to buy or rent, I will be ranking it under the at-home film ranking system. So as far as my ranking of 1988's Child's Play, I'm going to go ahead and give the film a buy it. Off of one watch alone, this is already a horror classic for me. I definitely want to watch this movie again. And I'm definitely going to consider checking out the other films in this series and maybe the TV show in the future. But those are just my thoughts on Child's Play, and I'd love to see yours down in the comments below. Have you seen the film? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Have you not seen it? Are you planning on watching it this Halloween season? Why or why not? Also, let me know down in the comments below if you want me to review Child's Play too. Really, any comments you have for me, I would love to hear from you. I respond to as much as I can. But do me a favor and leave a thumbs up on this video, click the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell for your own good guy doll.
We toys can see everything.
You stupid